All right, you folks, back on the Bossman show. Friend of mine, friend of the show, Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim, Kennesaw State Owls, out of the A son. Amir, what's up, brother? How you feeling, Kennesaw, my guy?
Boss man, what's going on, man? I'm good, man. I'm good. It's about 57 degrees right now. It's supposed to be 78 later on. Can't beat that in October, so I'm good to go.
No doubt, brother. Hey, can't believe it's your fourth year already. It's your fourth year at Kennesaw, man. How's this journey been for you so far, my brother?
Yeah, man, it's going, man. I'll tell you that much. Somebody said something to me about 2 months ago. They was like, "Man, you going into year three?" I said, "No, man, I'm going into year four." And so man, it's been a good journey, man. It really has, and really excited about seeing this thing through. Um, we talked about it before, man. First couple years, and it just takes time, man. And you got to go through those growing pains. You got to go through those hard times. And we kind of start seeing a little bit of success last year. And it was good. So, being able to have the majority of our guys back, man, and going into this fourth year with, in a sense, man, like these players, like we all have grown up together, and so that was the beautiful part of it, get this job at, I guess I was 37 at the time. Yeah, I was 37. And now, be sitting here ready to roll into year four, man, with guys that I love, they love me, and they love what we built here. Man, I can't ask for nothing else.
And I applaud the administration, Amir, because a lot of times they don't give you extensions when you're in a rebuild. And they've seen the progress you've made from the first years. You was just trying to get guys to play the right way. Yes, there's a talent gap, but now they've grown up with you. Year three, we saw them turn the corner. We saw the progress you've made, and they reward you as extension. So I'm glad they did. But a lot of times
Absolutely.
administrations don't give a guy an opportunity to actually see the rebuild through.
No, I'm extremely fortunate. That's the one thing I understand. When the extension was signed and it was released and put out there, I made sure to say that, you know, uh, we work in a very microwavable profession, where it's just, these administrators, they just want it like that. And I think every situation is different. If you're taking over for a head coach that, won 20 games left and got another job somewhere, and he left you a good team and you didn't do nothing with it, like, okay, I can understand that, but some places it wasn't it was a complete rebuild, and then you couple into that, basically, a real year of COVID and then a half a year of COVID, but that first year of COVID, like nobody knew anything, nobody knew what to expect. I mean, most teams didn't even have a summer, with their team. And for us, we were bringing, I think, 9 or 10 new guys that second year. And we, like, literally our first time working with those guys was, I want to say it was like late August, early September. And so, and I get it, man. It's no excuses. It's, you got to just work because ultimately nobody cares, right? Like, what it is. I get that part of it. But, for President Swag, AD Overton, and our CEO Tamika Smith Jones, for them to see um, and recognize, I should say, see is not the right word. Recognize, the growth in the program, the growth in the brand, what we've been able to do on the court, what we've been able to do on the recruiting trail, and reward us for that. It's rare, man. It's rare, and I'll be the first one to tell you. I'm not sitting up here saying, "Oh yeah, you know, uh, what we, what we've done to this point." I think it's remarkable, to be honest with you. But I'll be the first one to tell you there's more work to do. So I'm very fortunate, very blessed. But again, we've worked hard as hell at it too now. We've worked our butts off.
What's good about it, Amir, is your colleagues in the A Sun always tell me about how good of a job you do. And I'll say, you're doing a hell of a job. Yes, he is. And I'm glad you all see he's doing a hell of a job as well. And but also you all in the community as well, Amir. But you all in the Kennesaw community up there, North Cobb County, you're around, you're around. So people see you all, you're present. Your team is present in the community. That also helps as well. So yeah, your colleagues see you're doing a good job, in the community sees you're doing a good job. And I'm glad that administration said, hey, you don't give him years to keep this thing going so you see it all the way through. And I see big things for you coming this year and down the road for real, my brother.
No, I appreciate it, man. And you talk about the coaches in our league, man. We got some, really good coaches. And again, that's why I say, man, I think I'm really blessed, man. I'm blessed to have a great family. I'm blessed to have great administration. But then you look around our league, and we're all competitors. There's no question about it. We want to beat each other. But you take a guy like Richie McKay up at Liberty, who is been a sounding board at times, just an encourager at times. You take a guy like Lenny Acuff up at Lipscomb, it's been the same thing. And my good buddy down at Jacksonville, Jordan Mincy, who I think he's done a heck of a job, in just that short year he's been there, and they're going to keep coming, But it's a league, I think, full of coaches that have a real respect for each other. And also, again, we want to win. There's not a question about it, but if I could choose one phrase, I would say, we've got a league full of guys who are growers of the game. They want to see the game continue to grow and thrive. So, it's been awesome.
I was at Lake Point this summer. A lot of guys kept asking me about Amir, telling me how good of a job you do. I know that's your guy. You look at people. So even at Lake Point, your name came a lot of Lake Point this summer when I was out there watching games, man. So it's dope. People got their eyes on you, my brother.
Well, I think it's partly that, and it's partly, man, all I got is a 15-minute drive to Lake Point, during that recruiting season. Dudes are like, man, you get to sleep in your bed tonight. I'm like, yeah, you can't beat it. So it's a good spot. I think I told you this, 3 years ago. Now it's like, man, this place is special, man. Like it really is. And just to see the growth over the last 3 years, it's been special. And again, Pamela Witten was the president who hired me. She's now at Indiana, but last year, they gave the presidency to Kathy Schwag, and Kathy Schwag has been here in different roles for almost 20 years. So to see someone who is invested in our university and in our community be rewarded, and she's really big into athletics, and so she's going to really help us push this thing forward, man. So I'm excited about it. I really am.
And let me ask you this, man. So, with you all a month away from playing real games,
Yeah.
how much is still skill development versus just trying to put schematics in right now for you
Well,
and the
yeah,
guys?
no, we work skill development every day, man. We do in some sort. I think it's really important that even throughout the season, guys continue to get better. They continue to sharpen their mechanics, and the things that are going to help them be successful in the games. I think I mentioned this before. For our guys, we have a rule in our program that basically from April until when we start school back, for the most part, it's about them. We very rarely do a bunch of team stuff in the summers. We'll even when we work out, it's like we might be a team, but we'll, for the majority of the workout, we'll have our perimeter guys here, our post guys here, and then we might bring it in at the end for about 15, 20 minutes and play. But the skill development part is key. But right now we're building our schemes offensively, defensively, who we want to be, what our principles are, what our beliefs are, and really trying to drive those home. So April to, when school starts is about them. When we start up in, into August, they all have an understanding that, this thing is going to be about team, with that skill development still built in.
You know what, Amir? I look at your roster. It's finally you finally have an older roster, which is good. I got a returning guy, so I'm like, finally, my man has an older roster in the A-Sun to compete and get these close games. But sometimes, like I said last year, so games you could have won, didn't. But now they've got the practice of it now. Now this year you're older, we can execute and go watch the film and correct these errors, because you and I both know this. You can put time on the clock in practice, but it's not the same thing as having a real jersey on. It's another opponent, having referees there to overcome when these games are real close and get that pressure and get the job done for real.
Yep. Well, yeah, no, I mean, you make a great point. And like I mentioned before, we started to see, year two in those close games, we won 0 of them, none of them. Like, I want to say, man, we were like the year 2, we were 1-something in games, I think decided about 5 points or less. Last year, we won some of those close games, right? And when I dove into our team this summer, there were a few things that really stuck out, that of why we weren't winning those close games. Just from a basketball standpoint, like we've got to be a better free throw shooting team. We shoot the ball entirely too well to not, from the perimeter to not be a good 3-point shooting team. And so we've addressed that. We're addressing it as we speak. Right now each guy's making 500 free throws a week, and we're keeping up with it, charting it. So I think we'll be better in that area. But the other part of it is like you said, man, we got an older roster now. And what I mean by that is, these guys have been through some adversity. They've been through some battles. They've been in those close games. They've won some, they lost some, and we were able to identify, those close losses last year. Was it X's and O's? Was it free throws? Was it mindset? And that's the thing we kind of come up with, Bossman, is that this year it's not going to be about ability. It's not going to be about talent, youth anymore. It's going to be about how connected our guys, like how, focused on each other will they be? Can they be held accountable? Will they allow themselves to be held accountable by one another? And I think if we can do a great job in that area this year, we'll do what we're supposed to do.
No doubt, Amir. That's something so important you said, because the best teams I've been on was teams where we held each other accountable. It wasn't the coach. Now, granted, I played football, you was a basketball dude, but still, we held each other accountable for is running the right route, reading the right read, and stuff like that. And we need our offensive coordinator to be like, nah, you missed this read. It was man zone. You need to see it. So when you have a team where the guys say, hey, bro, you missed the assignment. Come on, man. Rotation over. That's going to be good for you. Hopefully, the older they can see it. It can say, hey, bro, you messed up. Not by having it turn into an argument would be a great thing.
Yep. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. And you think about it like this, and we've been preaching this now, again, with this group. Year one counts. It's not a question, but like, I don't think we have we have two guys, Terrell Burton and Armani Harris. But if people remember, both of those kids got hurt their freshman year, like season-ending injuries. And so now, and they've heard me say this now for 4 years, man, we got to hold each other accountable. You got to allow yourself to be held accountable. But the truth of it is again, it's a process. It takes time. I can say it, I can preach it, but they have to eventually get comfortable with it, right? And so last year, you saw times where, man, they wanted to do it, they wouldn't do it, or they did do it and it wasn't accepted, right? And so now they're not going to do it again. Whereas I think now what they're starting to see is that, again, it's maturity, right? Like they're being they're being held accountable, and before they react and feel like somebody's blaming them, they'll listen first, talk it out, boom, all right, we're good, and then we can move on. So that allows us as coaches, man, now, man, we're just like, for the most part, we're coming in and coaching basketball. We're not having to coach leadership a whole lot, effort a whole lot, energy a whole lot at all, if at all. So, it's a that's the part that I think that's cool to see. I saw like Terrell Burton the other day, on Tuesday, I think it was. We were doing something in practice, and man, it was we were doing a shooting drill, and where they got to make 100 shots in 4 minutes, and they made it. And normally, last year it would have been me saying, "Hey, fellas, look, we made it, but man, like we didn't have this, and this." So I'm literally like, all right, man, they made it. I'm gonna move on. Right. And Terrell, like, whoa, man. Hey, coach, real quick. Hey, fellas, we made that, but we got to be better communicating. We got to be better passing. Like, man, we should be at 115 or whatever it is. Last year, he wasn't doing that. It wasn't happening, because he didn't ultimately these guys, they spend so much time with each other that they want to be friends. Right. And they don't want to ruffle any feathers and have a dude not like him off the court. Well, I think what they started to understand is, man, it's unconditional love already, right? So I can tell this guy the truth, and this guy is going to accept it. So, man, it's been fun so far.
Amir, you wouldn't believe this. Now, on the football field, I'm a competitor and a dog, but in real life, I'm antisocial as hell. But you won't probably believe this. I am, though.
I don't believe that, but I trust your word.
It's true.
I trust your word.
So, like, on the field, I'll be going crazy. But when I got on the field, I didn't say a word.
Yep.
When I got on that field, I turned somebody different.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
I feel, of course, like I feel like, man, Bossman don't talk to nobody. He is
Yeah.
chilling. So
And that's Terrell Burton, man. I'm telling you, like that is Terrell Burton at his core. You know, like his freshman year, I tell the story all the time. You know, so to hear him do that the other day, you know, we all walk away like, man, like that dude then came a long way. Because his freshman year, he wouldn't talk like at all. Like I'm talking about even to call a play. You know, it's like, hey, Terrell, you got to say that louder, my man. Well, I said it. No, man, you got to say it louder, right? And then second year, a little bit better. Last year, it was bits and pieces. This year, it's been really consistent. And where that's going to help us. And I talked about this all the time. I didn't just want to have a good team. I didn't want to just have a good program. I wanted to build a program that was sustained over time, you know. And so now with Simeon Cotto, who's a freshman, you know, from Tri-Cities right here in Atlanta, walking in and having to play this point guard position, he has an unbelievable example every day. And I tell him all the time, like, man, you lucky. He didn't have you. He didn't have, you know, somebody to say, hey, Real, this is how you do it, right? Like he had me on his butt every day, pushing him and yelling at him, and you know, and he couldn't understand it, you know. Whereas when I'm on you, like now he's come to put his arm around you and like, look, young fella, this is what he's trying to get across to you. This is what he's trying to help you understand. And so we talk about it like that's how you build the program to sustain is when you're passing that leadership from one guy to the next. And then that when that new freshman comes in, that next guy's like, hey, man, look, I had a great teacher. I'm gonna be a great teacher, you know, to you, you know. So that's the part that you know is really cool to see right now.
you know, Amir, you got some heck of a games. You got non-conference. You got Florida, it's Todd Gold, it's San Diego State. TCU
Yeah,
and Mike Rhodes and Woody playing him in Indiana, man. So
man.
I know those are the guaranteed games you got to play. But talk
Yep.
about those games, man. Those pretty opponents you're gonna be playing in the non-con every A-Sun
Yeah.
schedule, brother.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, boss man, it's like this, man. You know, it's where we are, right? And that's what I mean. You know, when you talk about the program continuing to grow, every year we've been able to add different things, and the good part is going to be one day where we don't have to play as many of those guarantee games, and actually we can go and you know maybe buy a couple teams to come in here and play. But like right now, where we are as a program, you know, when you got 5 starters back, 7 of your top 8 back. One, nobody wants to come play us here. You know, the previous 3 years, our schedule was done in May, right? We literally didn't finish our schedule, couldn't finish our schedule, I think, until maybe late August, early September, because we couldn't find, you know, we were trying to find people to come play us here, right? And I don't say that like, you know, we've accomplished anything yet. No, like, but I think people are seeing how the program is growing, right? And so now you do have to go play the Indianas of the world. I was hoping that Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson, you know, went to the NBA, you know, when we signed that contract, but it's part of it, you know. But think about it like this, man. How many kids will be able to say they've been able to play in Assembly Hall, right?
No doubt.
How many kids will be able to say that you know they went down to and played in the swamp or went out to California? These are the things we talk about this all the time, man. Like the schedule is the schedule, and we're excited about it because it's going to give us a lot of different tests in a lot of different ways. But ultimately, like what I want to help create for these guys are memories that are going to last them, you know, in their bonds, right? Because truth of it is this, man, 10 years from now when they done playing college basketball and they all doing whatever they're doing professionally, whether it's basketball, running a company, owning a company, whatever it is, right? Like, man, they're going to have a group chat going, hey, man, remember that time we went and played at Assembly Hall? Or, man, remember that time we went out to California, man? We was able to go walk on the beach out there or whatever it is, man. Like, remember that time? Like, that's what it's about, man, at the end of the day, right? And so we want to have a challenging schedule that's going to prepare us for a really good A-Sun, right? Like the A-Sun ain't no cakewalk, right?
No
Like
doubt.
I mean, every night it's going to be a battle. You know, I think I saw yesterday where and then they picked North Alabama last. I'm sitting there thinking like, man, who did that, right? Like how, I don't like how, right? Like what like it is what it is, right? Like so that's why, like I was telling the guys, like, man, don't in the preseason polls, all that stuff, man, that stuff don't matter, man. Still got to go play. Like,
No doubt, Amir. Like you said, man, like for me, when I leave today, I'm going to Nashville for homecoming, TSU homecoming. It's like you said,
Yeah,
we have Hell's memories about playing Jackson State in Memphis or playing in Atlanta after that, the Atlanta Classic. We talking
right.
about we ain't talking about we lost this game. We talking about
Yeah,
we played Georgia Dome every year against FAMU.
you're not even gonna remember it. Like, it's like the craziest thing, man. Like, and man, I went to Southeastern Louisiana, man, and when I got there, we weren't very good at all. At all. I'm talking about we were bad. By my senior year, man, we won 20 games. We shared the regular season title. And man, I like to this day, I got a group chat in my phone. I got a group chat on Facebook with guys that I play with. And I'm telling you, man, like we don't talk about, hey, remember that time, man, we went and won at Tulane. Yeah, we won. I don't like, but I couldn't tell you anything about that game. You understand what I'm saying? But I can tell you about the time, we had to get up in the morning, man. Coach Billy Kennedy, man, he woke us up at we had a flight out of New Orleans. I want to say the flight was like at 9, man. So we're up at like 6 in the morning, driving from Hammond to New Orleans. Man, we go from New Orleans to like Bossman, Montana, had to get on a bus, and we're driving in a blizzard. Okay. Like dudes are shook, right? Because we like, yo, man, like we ain't never seen that much snow. We all kids from the Southeast for the most part. We talk about that. We laugh about that. We talk about the pancake breakfast we had in New Mexico. We went and played in like an MTE. It was like us, New Mexico, Dartmouth, and it was somebody else out there. Man, we don't even talk about those games, right? We didn't like the pit was fun to play in, but it was a diner out there in New Mexico that had these pancakes. Man, I'm trying to tell you, we went there every morning. They were unbelievable, right? Those are the things you talk about. Those are the bonds, that are created through this game. And so when you think about scheduling, yeah, man, I want to win. I don't really worry about my record as a head coach, to be honest with you, because again, like I said, every situation is different. If people only look at at my record as a head coach and they judge us off that, then they don't know half of what's been done here, But if people that really understand it, really look at this, what we've done, they get it. Quick story, I'll tell you this. It's like this. This is the stuff that, makes you, as a coach, makes you feel good, and you and encourage, like it kind of gives you that motivation to keep going. But I see Coach Andy Enfield, on the road here recently. And obviously he was in the league. He was at Gulf Coast, right? And now he's at USC. And man, he told my brother the same thing, told Sharif the same thing earlier this summer. But he saw me, he said, man, Amir, I just want to tell you, man, man, you're doing a hell of a job, over there, man. He goes, man, when I was in the league, man, you could count that as a win every year. He said that was 2 wins every year. He said, so man, like I see what you're doing. That wasn't an easy job. That wasn't an easy thing to take over. He was like, man, so just know people are, taking notice. And like, so again, man, I'm just like, man, that's pretty cool to hear, because, like ultimately, again, these are my, Coach Enfield's older than me, but he's my peer. He's a colleague, and so, he's a guy that I've respected from afar for a long time. Right. And so to hear a peer say that about what you're doing, and about what we're building, okay, cool. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing.
In the mirror, I'll say this: I saw this team at Belmont year 1. The improvement is 20,000 fold for what I saw. Belmont year 1. I've come upstairs and saw you all play.
We don't talk about that trip. We don't talk about, man, we played Murray State and Belmont on that trip, man. I'm like, what were we thinking? But it was part of it. It's part of it. Like that schedule we inherited the schedule. It wasn't like we were like, yeah, let's go. Like I would have never played them where, with where we were at. But, it's part of it though, man. It's part of it.
So I want people to understand that. So I would say Amir doing a hell of a job at Kennesaw State. Support the Kennesaw State Owls. Go up to see Amir play in Atlanta. It's not a hard drive. Go up I-75, get off 271, go see my man up there and support the Owls. Amir, thank you for your time. Always my brother, and I'll be seeing you soon, my guy.
Yes, sir, boss man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you always looking out.
No doubt, bro. I'll see you soon, man.
All right, dog.
Hey, peace.
All right.